Greetings once again, my YouTube family. Thanks for joining me for yet another YouTube tutorial. In this video, I want to share with you how I edited my first ever wedding editorial. This was a very exciting one for me because I've been planning this for the longest time, and everything came out so beautifully. If you guys haven't watched the behind the scenes of this shoot, you should check out the link. I think it'll be in the card up here, or I'll just put the link in the description. Yeah, you should go check out the video and let me know your thoughts on the shoot. It was very fun. Yeah, so I got some requests from some of you guys wanting me to show you guys how I edited or how I got the images to look like the way they were looking. And yeah, so here am I sharing with you how I edited them. So let me know if you guys want a raw image like unedited, and so to try your hands on. Let me know in the comments and I will definitely share with you. And yes, I'm working on my presets. I know I'm working on my presets, so you guys hang in there. It's almost ready. Yeah, so I have these presets I've been using for like all of this year. So I'm gonna select one and then see which one would work. So that's what I usually do. So let's try white aura, tomatrad, no, sweet golding. Okay, this could work. Okay, so let's note this down. Radiant, okay, this also could work. Radiance bold, portrait vibrant, no. Nadeli, okay, so Nadeli is between Nadeli and sweet golding. So what I usually like say is, when you get a preset from anybody at all, you should, when you try it out, you should definitely tweak it to suit your taste. No preset, for my experience, works out of the box. Like immediately you install the preset and try it, it works just perfectly, because you have to factor in the camera you use, the lens, the mood, the settings on your camera, auto white balance, all of that. So anytime you apply a preset from anybody at all, any photographer at all, you definitely have to tweak it to suit what you're looking for. So even goes with even my images. So I'm going to tweak this to get it to where I want it to be. Okay, so let's get on with it. Highlights, okay, they're good. Don't want to blow out the whites in it. I'm going to drag the shadows a bit. I'm definitely going to cool the images a little bit, and the tint, I'm going to take it to magenta just a little bit, and I'm going to increase my my exposure, and yeah, the blacks a bit. Okay, so this the before and after, before and after, before and after. Zoom in. Okay, I think I know what to do. Come all the way down, grains. Gonna reduce my grains, and let's see, this making the image, those of you who haven't followed me for some time, you guys know that I always play with my calibration, especially the green primary hue and saturation. The green saturation always makes the skin tones pop for me. It seems it's a bit too much on this preset, so I'm going to reduce it just a little bit. As you can see, before and after for this. Okay, and the blue primary saturation, so I'm going to reduce it just a little bit. Yeah, so I'm going to check my lens correction. I shot with a Sigma 50 1.4 art lens, so yeah, so if you enable it, to see, yeah, it takes away the vignetting from the edges, and I'm going to increase my sharpening to 75. Okay, and my color grading, let me see if I still want to, yes, I keep it there. That's what I usually have on there. So this always usually affects, okay, the blues and then the whites in the image. I usually increase the luminance on the blues just a little bit. I'm going to reduce this. Okay, the greens over here, and you guys always know I reduce my yellows just a tad bit. I don't do too much yellows in my overall image. I reduce it just a little bit. So the orange usually affects the skin tones. It's actually, when you pull it all the way down, it's going to reduce the color of the skin tone. So I'll just keep it on 0, level all of this. And this also, so let's see what it, if you, depending on the skin tone you're working on, or the model that you are shooting, I usually increase the it to the left minus or plus. So depending on the skin tone I'm working with, that's what I usually do. I'm gonna keep it here. Yeah, and let me bring. Okay, so before, after, before, after. Okay, so you can. I'm gonna copy this and paste on. Voila, looks good, right? So I'm just gonna frame it just a little bit more, and I'm just gonna reduce the whites and the highlights in this image. Bring in the. Okay, this is good. It's good. Zoomed in to 100%. Zoom out. Okay, looks good. It's good. Before, after, before, after, before, after. So probably gonna make it a little bit warm. Yes. Okay, so I'm gonna try. So since we started with the Nardelli, and so you see when I go back to the Nardelli, you see how it looks on it before tweaking to get it to this place. I'm gonna try. So for the next edit, I'm gonna start with this. Sorry, sweet golding. Yes. So even this looks a little. This even looks good from jump. I'm going to tweak it just a little bit because the yellows are all the way down, the greens too are a little bit down, and as you can see, it's missing. So before and after, you see over here the effect of the removal of the yellows in there. So I'm going to tweak it just a little bit, and also the skin tones. Okay, so let's jump right into it. Okay, so so here the tone curve, so before, after, before, after. So I don't want, so usually when you pull it to the side, you're giving it like a little more contrast, and when you raise it up, you're reducing the contrast. So depending on the mood you're going for, you can play with that, but I want to keep it on a 0, and I am going to, okay, I'm going to keep it here just a little bit. Now I'm going to bring back the yellows just a little bit more. Yes, the greens are good for me. So you can, before, after, as you can see, before, after. And so usually when I pull this down, so the purples and the blues usually affect the whites in every image. And so if you want your whites to look even more whiter, you play with this, pull them down a little bit. But if you have blues in your image, you'd have to just paint them back. That's what I usually do. Since I don't have any blues in the shot, I'm reducing that. It's not going to have any effect on any of the other images. Sorry, any of the other colors in there. Yes, and then also on the luminance, when I increase the yellows, it makes the skin also pop just a little bit more. So this one dulls it a little bit, and see when you slide it to the right, it makes the oranges pop a little bit more. Yes, all the way down here to the color grading, before, after, before, after. Yes, sharpening. So usually keep my sharpening at 50 or 76 or 75 depending on the image. So I'm going to keep it here and come all the way down, and always have my lens correction check. And so if you probably shot with a Sigma 85, and then you see here a Sigma 50, you can just select here. You can select any profile and then go back and select the Sigma. It would readjust. If it doesn't, come and select here and then look for your specific lens type. I'll reduce the green. I'll reduce the green to 5. Yes, and I'll reduce the green primary saturation just a tad bit. Before, after, before, after. Let's see. Okay, reduce this a bit too, and I'm gonna go up and warm it up just a little bit more. Yes, so before, after, before, after. I think I'm going to add some magenta to the image. Yes, I like it here. Yes, before and after. So even with sweet golding and Adeli, you get to tweak it to look how I want it to look. So you just have to know what you're looking for, starting point, and then tweak it just to the point where you want. So I'm just going to copy and paste. So looking at this image, it's reduced the greens a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is that I'll increase the highlight, and I'm going to increase the greens and also the yellow. So because usually and the colors that affects foliage is yellow and green. So even when you reduce your yellows, it's going to affect the greens as well. So if that's what the look you're going for, that's this, because this is also very cool. This is also very cool. It's taking attention from the background and it's keeping it on the subject. So if that's the look you're going for, definitely. I'm going to bring it in the yellows in just a little bit to see the foliage. Yeah, so I like, this is good. This is good. And also copy, paste. This already looks good. Don't need to do much. Okay, so with this, the outfits are not like when you compare the suits to the shirt. The shirt is like very white, but the suit is like ivory or off-white. So if that's the look you're going for, good. If not to, you can definitely reduce the color in the suit. And what I love about the new Lightroom is that you just select, come here, the selection, just select, it will detect people. It's loading, and then you can select all people, and you can select clothes. So it's going to create a mask. Okay, you create a mask, and then you can just reduce saturation to where you want it. This is cool, right? And if it's affected a portion that you don't want, you can just come here. So you see the plus and minus, you select the minus and then brush, and then you paint away. So like, let's say here, you paint away from what you don't want. If you don't want that, you can just select, hit option on a Mac, and you see the options. When you press on the option, you see plus, just paint. If you want to paint it back in, release the option, and then you see the minus, and then you paint it back. So yeah, that's something that you can do. Yeah, and the image is as clean as you'd want. So if you want to reduce it more, the saturation comes all the way, but this looks very fake, so I'm going to keep it over here, so like at a 48. Yeah, so this is not bad. Before, after. Let me increase it just a little bit. Yes, before, after. So hit enter, and everything looks good. So copy and then paste, and already looks good. So if you want to reduce the yellows, definitely, if that's what you're going for, you can reduce it. And yeah, this looks good. Let me cool the image a little bit and see. No, this is good. This is good. Yeah. So again, I'll copy and paste, and yeah, already looks good. I'm going to increase add some blacks in it and add some warmth in the image. So drag it to the yellows just a little bit more and down. And what I'm going to do, increase the greens and the yellows just a little bit. Now reduce the yellows a little bit more. And yeah, before, after. Looks good. So I'm going to go back here and then probably touch the images a little bit more. So if you're good with this, good. you guys know that I usually like to keep my edits, let's say 80% done in Lightroom. So I'm just going to do a little retouch on the image over here. I'm going to select the remove. So there's a new one with the latest Lightroom. This one usually uses the internet. If you select generative AI, it's going to do like what Photoshop has been doing. It would replace it with an AI generated image, and it usually works. But I'm just going to keep it simple here and then just remove a little bit of the spots in the image. Just it's a rough edit, so you guys can see how I usually do. I'm not going to do much, just a little bit, so you guys can see. And over here as well, the cheek mark over here, I'm going to reduce it just a little bit. Here, here, here. So before, let me hit enter. Before, after, before, after. See, so you can just go over and just remove the blemishes that you want in your image. I'm going to select here. So this is going to remove everything. Just have to take your time and then do it. Yeah, basically. So after I'm done, I'll select people. Just let it load, let it do its thing, and it's going to select people for me. Select person, and I'll usually select facial and then body skin. So the red signifies where the mask is affecting. So I'll create mask, and I'll come to custom and select texture. Scroll down to effects, texture. If you don't find it, it should be in effects. And then I usually like to do 50. I like to do too much, so that's this before, after. You see how it cleans the image up a little bit, so I don't have to go do any frequency pushing in Photoshop, trying to work efficiently, you know. Yeah, so the image is clean. I like the edit. So you can do same for this one as well. So what I'm going to do with this one is just touch it up just a little bit so you guys can see. So the hair, remove the hair from here, and a little bit of the spots, a little bit of the pimples. The model's face is already very good, so I don't really need to do much. And then also take this off, this, and also let's work on the male model just a little bit, so you guys can have an idea of how I would treat the image. So just take your time and then do it. So yeah, let's keep it here. And then what I'll do again is I just select brush and then just paint the eyes and clean them. Or when you select the masking, you can select people. So for instance, if the groom had his eyes also showing, when you do this, you select everything, and then I'll come to eyes clearer, select the eyes clearer, and also you can select the teeth as well, create mask, and then reduce saturation, and then just make the eyes pop. And always I increase the highlights to make them pop, and probably just a little bit of the whites. So hit enter, before, after, before, after, before, after. And last but not the least, select people again, select people, all people, facial and body skin, create mask, and I'll go all the way to texture, come to effects, bring the slider to -50, and voila, that's it for my retouch in Lightroom, and the image looks good. So if you want, so one thing that I also sometimes do is when I smoothen the skin in texture over here, I sometimes scroll down and to detail, and I increase my sharpness a little bit to 25 or 30 to gives the image, so you see the difference. You scroll, reduce the sharpness, see how it looks. as against increasing it. It still gives you that texture, like you've done a very good frequency separation on your subject. Yeah, so that's a little tip that you can add to your editing. Hit enter and you're good to go. Yeah, so guys, that brings us to the end of this tutorial, Lightroom tutorial. Well, okay, if you guys have stayed till the end, I'm going to give you like a little bonus. So if you've done all this in Lightroom and then you still want to make your images pop in Photoshop, let me show you what else you can do. So let's open Lightroom. Let's open Photoshop. So I'm going to select one of the images and then take it to Photoshop. So no, edit in Photoshop. Let's wait for it to load. Okay, Photoshop is open here. So what I usually do if I want to still make my images pop in Photoshop. So again, this is the 20% of what I do in Photoshop. Apart from probably, let's say if I'm going to post for Instagram and then the image is going to crop out. So usually the Instagram crop size is 4:5 or 8:10. So this is what, if I'm posting to Instagram, this is the frame that I'm going to get. So if it's small, I'll come and probably increase it and then use the generative expand, and then the AI would increase it for me. Or before this new update, I'll just do content aware and then I'll fill in, do a little here and there. But I'm not doing that with this image. So what I wanted to show you how to make your images pop is I have this this plugin in Photoshop over here. So I have all of these plugins that I hardly even use. So the one I use a lot is this. Come down, scroll down here, and so I scroll down here and then I'll select boost. You press play, and when you select boost and then you press play, you have this here. So before, after, you see it makes the image really pop, but this is too much. You don't always want to keep it on 100%. So I come back to the opacity and then I usually do 20 to 30 depending on the image, of course. This image already looks good, already popped, so I'm just going to add just a little 30 and before after. I don't know if you can see it. So before after. Yeah, so if you guys want this boost, let me know if you would want this boost action in Photoshop. Let me know that in the comments, and definitely follow my socials on Instagram, King Kokonasi Photography. On the website is www.kingkokonasiphoto.com, and let me know in the comments if you learned something from this video, and if there's something you do differently. Do you do more of your edits in Lightroom or in Photoshop? And until I come away in the next video, and I'll see you out.